were joking around about our porn names. I was Rob the Throb.
That's how we do it in the South.
25 years old, and you are literally hobbling around. Like, I mean, what do you do other than tote a couple tripods? Oh, my back. Oh, God. Take a fucking Midol. What's going on, guys, and welcome to Rabbit's Used Cars. I was in the shower this morning. I was doing my thing, getting ready, and you think about things. I was thinking about what we're going to talk about today. And, you know, we've done hundreds of videos for this channel. And, you know, you start thinking and reminiscing, thinking about life and thinking about funny things. And you got to understand the cool thing about stories is you can actually learn from them. Not only are they entertaining, but you can take a little something away from it. And this one's funny. I'm leery to tell this one in a public forum. I've talked about it before, but not here. And, you know, a lot of people come to me for advice. And keep in mind, I'm literally almost a half a century old. That blows my mind. That blows my mind. But with that kind of seat time, you gain a little wisdom. But they weren't all good moves on my part. And some of them were a little scary. And one of them really could have come back to bite me. But we'll get to that. Let's see, where do I start this? So this was 2001. I was about to get married for the first time. And one of my very best friends at the time, his name was Matt. And Matt, he was a fun friend. Not saying he'd necessarily be the buddy, and he'd help you out. I mean, he was a good friend, I guess. But Matt, like, if we were going to get in trouble, I would be with Matt. That's the guy that would get you in trouble. And I'm about to get married. And, of course, Matt's like, I'm going to throw you a bachelor party. And I'm like, heck yeah, man. You know, got to think about it. I just turned 21. And what do you do at bachelor parties? Well, you go to strip clubs and go out and things like that. And yeah, I was young and I was dumb. I was so naive. I mean, looking back, extremely naive. And I've gotten a lot better and wiser over the years, obviously. So we go to this really popular gentleman's club that now is a church, which is so crazy. But we were there for 2 or 3 hours, and it was a group of us there, and Matt, and we're having a good time, and we're just showing our asses and just whatever. And it's about midnight, and I'll be honest with you, even back then, I wasn't an all-nighter kind of guy. And I told Matt, I said, man, it's fun, but I'm about ready to rope it in and call it a night. He goes, no, we're going somewhere else. We need to go do something else, man. Night's young. I said, no, night's over with. It's morning. But him being that bad peer pressure friend, I'm riding with him. So we end up going to another club. And I'm trying to think of the way I can describe this and not get demonetized or hated. Seedy. A seedy club. A very, you don't want your mother knowing you went there club. It's rough. Broken chairs. It's an after-hours place at best. No one starts out at this place. You end up there. And very rough. The type of place like where the bouncer's got a gun on his side in there. And kind of rough, like I said. And, the first club we went to, it was lights and the good music and the DJ over on the main stage. This place left a little to be desired. And they serve beer in a can. That shows you right there the quality of this establishment. And so we were there, and we're having a beer, and you've got all these interesting people that of every walk of life in this club. But we were probably the only two cleaner cut guys there. There were some rough biker looking characters and some whatever. I mean, just a little bit of everything. Everything bad was there. And we kind of stuck out a little bit. And there was this one particular girl that was working in this club, and she was actually like a waitress. She wasn't dancing. She was like a waitress. Pretty attractive, extremely attractive for this club. Probably the best looking one there, hands down. And she brings us her beers or whatever, and we got to talking, and we were there. And keep in mind, it's 2 o'clock in the morning at this point, 3 o'clock in the morning, wherever it was. And this place is still going. There's now at this point, there's a double handful of people there. And this waitress comes up to us and she's like, "What are you guys doing here?" She's like, "Shouldn't you be whatever?" And my buddy explained to her that he's getting married and this and whatever. And he said, "We're just looking for a good time." She said, "Oh, really? You're looking for a good time?" And I'm just kind of like, what he said, sure. She goes, "I got somebody I want you to talk to." Okay. Well, next thing you know, and every time I see a sport coat, and I actually like wearing sport coats sometimes, but every time I see a sport coat, it's a leather sport coat and it had the patches on the arms. It's starting to come back now, which is funny. But guy comes up, balding, older, probably, as bad as I hate to say, it's probably my age now, and maybe a little older. And he sits down, and really, really tan, and I don't know, just got a real greasy vibe from him, just right off the bat. And he sits down and he goes, "So blah 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 told me you guys looking to have a little fun." I said, "You're a couple clean cut, good looking guys." And I'm thinking, what in the hell is this guy talking about? And he goes, "I make adult films, and she is going to be starring in one tonight. And how would you guys like to be in it?" Well, by this point, she comes walking up, and she goes, "What do you boys think?" And I'm over here like, and Matt's like, and keep in mind, we've been drinking. We were going to leave the club and go to this certain hotel, whatever, and we're going to film this, whatever. He said, "Before we can go any further, I need to see you guys' IDs, and I got a little contract I need you to sign. It's a waiver." And I remember, because it was such a joke, because he walked off and came back with these contracts, but while he walked off, me and Matt were joking around about our porn names. And keep in mind, we were a little intoxicated, but I do remember this part, is I was Rob the Throb. This is before I was the rabbit. So, and we're laughing. And so we never looked at these contracts. And he brought them out here, and this guy just kept on and on and on. And by this point, I already talked myself out of it. Like the voice of reason starting to come in. I'm starting to sober up a little bit. And he's like, come on, just sign these things, guys. And he said, we got about another, 30, 45 minutes, and we're going to go to the hotel, and it's time. So, like, I just signed at it. Matt signed his. We never read these things. Keep in mind, it's in a club. It's dark. It was one page. It was copied. I do remember that. It looked like a bad copy, whatever it was. But anyway, we signed it. Matter of fact, I think I signed it Rob the Throb or something crazy. Well, they walked off doing whatever. And I mean, keep in mind now, at this point, it's way past 3 o'clock in the morning. And I told Matt, I said, let's get the fuck out of here, dude. I mean, come on. It's been a fun night. This is a story in itself. We were approached to make a porno, and I said, let's call it, let's stop while we're ahead. And he does, so we leave. Now, let me stop this story to tell you another story. Fast forward about 10 years later, keep in mind, in this time, I become the eBay outlaw and banned from life from eBay. Divorced, married again, divorced, worked at the Ford dealership, all that stuff, all through my 20s. I was at SEMA for the very first time. And you keep in mind, this is the biggest automotive show on earth, hands down. It's the holy grail of automotive events at SEMA. And we're in Vegas, and I am on the elevator at the Encore, riding up. Keep in mind, we were on the 63rd floor. It's a 15-minute elevator ride. And there's a guy there, his name was Dorian Vinlov. We were talking in the elevator. And keep in mind, it's a pretty long elevator ride to the top. And we're riding the elevator up, and hey, Rob, what do you do? I do radio. And he said, man, he said, you got a great voice on you, and yada, yada, yada. And I never even asked him what he did. Could care less. I do remember the name. And, we get off, go to our room. Get a call back the next week. And what was weird, I was working at the truck shop at the time. So he actually called the shop line, and it actually call forwarded to my cell phone. It was like a Sunday afternoon. I was laying on the couch. I remember when I got that call. And he goes, you may not remember me, but I was talking to you in the elevator at the Encore. I'm Dorian Vinlov. I'm like, I do remember you. He goes, I got this number from a post. I saw a sign in the background for, I'm assuming, your diesel truck shop. And that's how I got you. I'm like, yeah, this is, it rings through to my cell, whatever. I explained to him. And he goes, well, the reason for my call, would you be interested in filming an automotive television show for Discovery Channel? And I said, sure. That'd be awesome, man. It's cool, I'd love to hear more about it anyway. He said, I'm going to email you some things, and I want you to see them. And he emailed, basically a description of what the show was going to be about, the character he was looking for. And he said, we love the look, the voice, all that stuff. If you think you can fill in these blanks for us, maybe we can put something together. And I'm like, man, this is awesome. Discovery Channel, and all this. So I, look at this. I'm like, yeah, we can do this. We can do this. Well, the very first thing they sent over was a talent hold. They call it a contract, but it's a talent hold. And, of course, not Rob the Throb. Sign it, send it in. He said, now, we're going to be running a lot of background checks on you. That was also in this contract. He said, we're going to be running a lot of background checks on you. He said, you got to understand, if we're going to put you in this type of spotlight, we need to make sure you check out. He said, we don't want to invest in you in film and have a problem. And I totally understand that. There's, things that happen. And I've been in situations where, I've worked with other people that couldn't do things on TV because of things that happened in the past. And, so I understand that. I'll be honest with you. Pretty squeaky clean on that side of things. And they did a pretty deep background check. I remember them calling me and asking me about my divorces, because they said, Rob, we seen where you were divorced 2 times in, less than 5, 6 years, you know, and nothing came up, but you mind us asking why? And I said, we just didn't get along. I'll be honest with you. The second marriage was, just a brain fart. It was a bad decision, but whatever. And he goes, so no domestic violence or anything like that's going to come up if we dig deeper. And I said, no, nothing of that sort. And he goes, okay. He says, so I got another question for you. He goes, we haven't really looked yet, but we're digging deeper. I figure it's just easier to ask you. You've never signed with another production company or a TV or video company or anything like that in the past, have you? He said, we just got to make sure you don't have any contracts floating around. As soon as he said that, went right back to that bachelor party and that seedy guy with the blazer on. And I started thinking about that. I don't know why, but just all of a sudden, went right back to that. I'm thinking, oh my fucking God, what the hell did I sign? And I'm thinking, no. And that's what I told him. I didn't want to say anything about it. I'm thinking, surely to God, this guy's dead by now or whatever. There's no way this could be official. Then I start thinking about it. Like, they're doing all these checks. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do if this pops up that I signed up to make a porno that I never ended up making, but still. So, and it comes by, and I passed all that, and apparently it was never of anything because they never found it anyway. And we ended up moving forward with that production, and it ended up getting dropped. Which worked out good because we shot a way better series for Netflix that you'll be seeing in June. But that just goes to show you right there, though, back to the people coming to me for advice thing. You learn a lot from your mistakes. So when I see people that are making similar bad decisions, I always try to hey, you might want to think about that before you start this page, or you might want to think about that before you do a video about this, or hey, you might want to think about it, whatever. I've lived it. And I thank God every day that the internet was in its infancy when all this was going on, and the popularity of videos and things like that wasn't that big of a deal, because I would have a lot of explaining to do. But anyway, this is one of those times where I can share wisdom with someone saying, you got to think before you sign things, and you need to look at them. Because that was a long week waiting for them to call me back, thinking what in the hell are they going to find? And I'm even to the point of Googling, trying to remember the name of that production company. And I could never find it. But definitely a scary experience, but now it makes for a good story. Guys, we'll catch you next time at Rabbit's Used Cars.